Selena. It's a vibe, baby. Oak Cliff girl, can't make you change my world. Damn, you're so fine, girl. Oak Cliff girl, put them heels on and prove.
Welcome to Selena's Couch, where you are welcome to be free to be yourself. So you can lay your head on my couch, on my pillows.
It's all good, we can do whatever we wanna do now. I'm in my bag right now, and I got a feeling, babe, yeah. You're gonna be my number one lover. Spend the night making love to each other, with the lights on top of the covers. Just me and you, babe. And I feel like you're my
Love you to Reese's Pieces.
Get you a word. Nana boo boo.
Hey y'all, what's going on? I hope everybody is doing well. I'm waiting on Rachel to come on through to tell her story. I had an interesting day today. Some of you may know. I am a person, these people out here are weird, okay? I just don't like people lying on me, okay? So some things I'm gonna address, but I told you every now and then I have to address certain things, but I'm not gonna linger on the situation. But I hope that some of you people understand, but if you don't, hey, get a channel and find out how crazy people are and how to deal with them. If you can tell me how to deal with them and you have a channel, then hey, I'll listen. Other than that, sometimes dealing with these folks on here, you can ignore so long. But when people blatantly lie, and they continue to keep doing it for whatever reason, like that's just ridiculous to me. It's too many people that lie and go along with it, with the lie because they don't like other people. Hey, Wes Adams, how are you? And I'm not feeling that. So let me let Rachel know that I am live so she can come on. And you say, okay. Hi, you, Melly Mel. Oh, Rachel, you're here? Okay, so just hit the link that I sent you. I think I sent you the link. I hope I did. My cam up. How are you? How's everybody? What's up, Melly Mel? What's up, Mr. Don? What's good? Wes Adams, and hello again. Thank you for coming through. What's up, Rachel? You not camming up?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
I'm chilling. What's up with you?
Yeah, I was just telling people I had an interesting afternoon, so I had to kind of get it back together, but I had to address some things, but it is what it is. I'm glad that you are here and gonna share your story with us today. Well, Rachel, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, just your siblings. Do you have any siblings? Let's start out right there.
Blessings, Selena. Blessings to everybody in the chat. I'm originally from North Philly. I was raised in North Philly, but I was born in the islands.
Okay.
I was born in Ponce, Puerto Rico. I only visited the island one time, so don't ask me about PR. I just know what it's been passed down to me. But I'm originally from here, from North Philly. Been in the same hood, same community my whole life. Like, I've come a long way from a child that used to lash out and get in trouble a lot to, somebody that became a community activist. Crazy. I would have never thought. And it took for me.
Sometimes our pain can become our purpose. You know what I'm saying? So never discount what you've been through, because what you've been through is going to make you. For some people it breaks them, but some people it makes them. So for who they are today. So you kind of had I would say kind of a very difficult childhood, challenging
Mm-hmm.
childhood. Starting back when you were young, maybe was the age of 5.
I was 5.
And wow, okay. So I wanted you to take me back to when you were a little girl. How was your personality when you were a little girl before things started happening to you?
Me, I was I guess I was a kid that didn't fear nothing. For real, for real. I asked a lot of questions. Um, I how can I say, I was real protective of my siblings, especially my brother. Like I had mostly half brothers and sisters, but my
Mhm.
brother, same father, same mother, I was real protective of him. It was like he was my spine and I was his rock. I don't know how to
Okay.
explain it. And me and him went through a lot together. Until, my siblings came along and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, we protected each other until, I left my house. I came back for him, when I came back for him, my brother was a little lost already, but he was
Mm.
suffering from schizophrenia his whole life. But it's a
Wow.
total of 5 of us. I'm the oldest.
So from your mother and your father, it's just you and your brother, right? Correct.
Yeah, same mother, same father. It's just me and him.
So what happened to your father? Was he not in the household?
Um, the story I didn't learn his story until I got a little older. I guess there was issues between them.
Mm.
I never understood the age difference. Like my mom was 13, he was 23 when she got with him. Um,
Wow.
yeah. When I learned about that, I was like, isn't that,
She was
over
a
here?
she was a kid herself.
Yeah, I never understood how my grandparents let that slide, but they let her. She came to Philadelphia at the age of 13 with him. So, I think she didn't even have me until she was 23. So I don't know if they were having relations or what they was doing, before that, but I was their first child. Well, yes, their first child, not his, but
Mhm.
their first child.
Okay.
Um, and then she had my brother. I know that they had issues. I guess they was both cheating on each other. And if you know somebody that has schizophrenia, I guess things go real left. And he was schizophrenic, so um, I can't really tell you, much, but what was told to me. Their relationship wasn't really that good. It was
Okay.
um real abusive after a while. It was good in the beginning, but from what I was told, my father was very jealous after my
Mhm.
mom had my brother. He didn't trust her. Um, Stuff started going sideways. Besides him having a schizophrenia, I learned that he was somebody that, um, how can I say? I mean, you could basically say that at one point he was a functional schizophrenic, right? Because
Okay.
somebody that could sit here and sling drugs in the corner and be the head honcho of that, own a couple stores in PR here in New York and in Philadelphia. I mean, that leads
Mm.
me to show that at one point he was
She was
somewhere
functioning.
up there. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, after that, things went sideways with them. And I don't know him. Never met him. Don't know what he
Right.
feels like. Don't know what he sounds like. I just seen pictures.
Hmm. So you heard things about your dad. You never actually had a relationship with him, and but you knew that at one point he was functioning. Do you remember the age that he left your family? Like, do you remember uh, how old you were? How old you and your brother were at the
No, my
time?
mom left him.
Okay,
Um,
so
I don't know.
what
I've
age?
been here in Philly ever since I can remember. I've never seen him. I don't know if it was to protect me, but I feel as though that he's not a danger to me now that I'm older and I know the story. You see where I'm
Mhm.
coming from? I feel as though he was more, it was more of them. The danger was
Okay.
towards each other. Like not learning their story. I, One, first of all, she was too young. I can never understand
Yeah, 13
why
is
was they together,
extremely young.
even to begin with.
Mhm.
Second of all, once she got of a certain age and understood certain things, like I mean, I don't know why she didn't leave. You see where I'm coming
Mhm.
from? Um, Second of all, she left when it got real abusive. The jealousy
Mhm.
started. So it's kind of like I feel as though that cost my mom a lot of trauma, but um she was the one that left them. There's paperwork behind that. So I mean, that's the only thing that I know that, I could say, okay, she's not lying on that part. but she walked away due to abuse and the mistreat, and I guess the drugs got real bad.
So he was on drugs as well. Was your mother on drugs?
No.
Your mother. Okay, so it was just your father. So he, got on drugs, and then your mother decided, you know what, I can't do this anymore.
From my understanding, yes.
So after you weren't around your father was no longer in the picture. What type of father role did you have after that?
I'm not gonna sit here and lie. My mom was seeing this guy for a while. He was a good guy. I used to really, not the time for you to be over here. You want to say hi?
Hey, how are you?
My birthday list.
All right, give me 1 second. We're having a conversation. You can't be in this conversation. Can you give me a minute, please? I appreciate nice listening. She was dating this nice guy. But he when I got older, I mean, he died after a while. Like I was like 3-4 years old when he passed away. I'm never gonna forget him. He was always there for us. Listen, gave us everything we needed. Like I thought he was my father. After a while, I learned that he wasn't my father. When he passed away, they explained it to me. He treated us like his kids. He loved us like his kids. He didn't have no kids. So he was good. Then my mom married this guy, which became my stepfather, and that's where me and my brother's life went sideways.
So how old were you and your brother at the time?
5. I was 5. He was 4.
Okay, so y'all were behind each other. Okay, so can you tell me how the relationship with you and your stepfather?
Not good.
Not good. What were some of the things that you experienced, if you don't mind me asking?
With him in the beginning, it was weird. I can't tell you what it was. It was a feeling that I had. I was, I always kept my distance from him. The way he talked, the way he carried himself. He was always drinking. I was little. So it was kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if it was fear. I don't know if it was God, on one shoulder telling me, keep over here. But, once he moved into my mom's house, stuff started changing with him. It's like he was always looking at me. He was always staring at me. After a while, it went from the staring to his hands always being on my shoulders. You see where I'm coming from? And then, always patting me in the back. I would, Mom, like, I don't feel comfortable. She went and listened. My mom started working a lot. She was a chef. She would work from restaurants, and then at nighttime she would work in factories, making clothes and stuff like that. She had different types of jobs as I was growing up. She would leave me alone with my brother, here in this same house I'm in right now. Is the crazy part. I would sleep in the middle room, and it was my brother on the top bunk, me in the bottom bunk. He will always find his way in, carry me into their room. It started, the touching. It went from the touching, it went to the, I had to get on my knees. I'm just trying to find the right words and try not to go into detail. So it went from there to me being on my knees to, and from there it escalated to the grape. And
okay,
so yeah, it went.
Okay, so at 5 years old, no child knows about anything sexually, especially
go that way.
Especially something oral sex, right? So how, if you don't mind me asking, how did he coach you to do that? Like, what did he tell you? Just bend down, and what? Can you?
What's crazy?
Take me there.
You want to know what made it easy for him? I was going to therapy, and my mom had me medicated. You see where I'm coming from? So around that time, when he would sneak me into the rooms, I was already drowsy. You see where I'm coming from? So like when we talked the last time, I tell you, like, it doesn't affect me the way it affects, some other females. They'll go and they'll turn to the opposite, to the same sex. With me, it's more when I'm having sex, the PTSD kicks in. I have it more under control now. When I was younger, it was impossible. Like like at the beginning, my first relationship, my baby pops really thought, he's like, "What is you really into women? Like, talk to me. Like, I don't understand. Every time we're having sex, you're gonna push me off. You're kicking me." So I had to sit down and tell him one day, which almost got him locked up, when I told him detail by detail everything that happened.
So when he told you to bend down and he forced his his penis inside your mouth.
Yeah.
And then you just learned how to do that off whenever he wanted you to.
Facts.
Wow.
Facts.
And when you would tell your mom, she wouldn't believe you? Or
in the beginning, I didn't know how to tell my mom, because when he would finish doing what he was doing, he would tell me if I tell anybody, my brother would pay for it. When I spoke up and I tried to say something, I was 6.5 years old, and I ran from him. I went into the middle room. I tried to jump out the window. My mom took me to the side. Like, tell me what's going on. Da, da, da. I tried to tell her, little by little, right? Next thing I know, he completes his promise. My brother, my brother does something. He comes, he grabs him, he beats the crap out of him, takes him to the shower. I remember DHS got involved in everything. I had to lie because I was scared.
Right.
Like, when I seen him grab my brother, he's like, this is what happens. So he showed me. There's no holding back, no nothing. He told me, your mom's not going to believe you. So when my mom put me away, when I was trying to tell her, what I told her, she called me crazy. She said she don't believe that's going to happen. It's impossible. If he did do it, why didn't I tell her before? Look what he just did. My brother got 30 stitches on the top of his head. 30 stitches. He completed his promise. You put me, and you told me because I wanted to jump out a window saying that I was lying, that he was touching me. Oh shit, did we freeze up? Wait, I don't know if it's a delay or... Okay, I see you now.
Yeah. So your brother was 5 at the time when you were 6, correct? When this happened? Okay.
I was, around this time, I was already 6.5 going on 7. He was 5.5 going on 6, because we got a couple months, difference in our age. It's not a whole year apart.
So CPS, when they did the investigation, what did they do with it? Even though...
No, they closed the case.
They closed the case because you had to say that nothing happened?
Yes. Listen, I got punished for almost, what was it, like 3-4 months when I came home from the 302, because they keep you for 60 to 90 days in there to observe you and everything, especially when you try to attempt suicide against your life. I tried to jump out of a 2nd-story window. And like, at the end of the day, it's like, how do you go to your mom when she's trusting this man? You see where I'm coming from? When this person's not reacting, this person's not doing nothing. The second time I tried to do something was because, believe it or not, even though this lady closed this case from DHS, we had a social worker from LaSalle University, right? Because my mom had to take training, parenting classes due to the one time that we spoke up into school, because we tried to speak up multiple times, right? The real first time I tried to speak up, like I said, it was the day that I went to the school. We went to the school. My brother saw what he was doing. He got in the middle of it. He tried to hit us with this big Mexican. It's like this big leather belt, right? It was real thick, black too. With I don't know if he had like a snake or a dragon in the buckle of it. And he was whipping my brother. Like, he caught me in it, and that's when I spoke up. And I told, because school don't take around that time. I don't know if you remember back in the late 90s. Around that time, school doesn't play around with that shit. We really had some good social workers. I'm not gonna say why. Like, that social worker that I'm telling you is still in my life till today.
Oh, that's great. So, did any of the teachers see any of the signs of you being abused?
Yeah, they kept crying. DHS was called into my house multiple times. But see, I gotta tell y'all, my mom was somebody that was real respected. My mom, we're in a community, around that time, everybody got along. You see where I'm coming from? Like, When I tell people I can relate to the Menendez brothers, I can relate to the Menendez brothers. My mom was like an octopus. Every time I ran away, somebody found me. You got to go back to your mom. I got,
Wow.
So it didn't matter where I went in Philly, they knew her. You see where I'm coming from? Yeah, I ran away plenty of times. But what's the point of running away when you're caught in that corner and you're caught in that corner and you're being brought back home because you're a minor and you're underage?
Mm-hmm.
You know how many programs I got put into? How many times I got put away?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Russell. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that came in the chat. I appreciate you guys. So this is a very difficult story for you to tell, and to kind of,
that's why I work around the details.
Yeah, react or anything. To go back into the past is a lot. So just if there is some questions that's a little bit too much for you, just let me know and we can move on from there. But I want to make you feel as comfortable as possible, even if the story is very challenging. Hello to everybody that came in. Hey Dimple. Hey everyone. So I want to not make, it's a difficult story, but it's definitely going to help somebody that may look at this, that may have struggled with this.
Yeah.
With when you were going through the situation and your mom would not believe you, how was your relationship with your mom? Did you constantly try to get her approval, or were you more rebellious growing up? When
I was more rebellious. It was more, all right, you don't care no more. Listen, I was working at 13. I mean, no. How old was I when I was in that corner? I was working at 11 in that corner store right there. I was 11 years old. I would go to school, come home, go straight to the job. My first paycheck, I bought me my first pair of Timbs. Then I bought stuff that I need. I was trying to get out my house. I just wanted to leave. So I was finding ways. It was to the point where, everything started interfering with my school. And my worst subject was math. Like, I was good at everything else, but I was bad at math.
I hate math.
So I started having issues in school. And like, when you reach high school, is a little different from elementary and middle school. You got the teachers that really do care. You see where I'm coming from. Like, it's a little different. So I was lashing out. It's like, what was the point? At one point, it was like, why am I even here? Like I tell people, I attempted suicide against myself. I could say it was a total of maybe 8 to 10 times from the age of 6 all the way to the age of 15.
When you say attempted to, the S
take
word,
my life,
what were the things that you did? Did you take drugs?
The first time, like I told you, I tried to jump out the window. The second time, I went into my mom's cabin and I took all her pills. They had to detox me in the hospital. Like, I was vomiting black. I was, doing the bathroom. It was all black. They had to detox me in that joint. So that was another time that they had to go to myself. So, I mean, so it's crazy. Yeah. Like, I keep telling people my life was suicidal mainly when I was a kid and a teenager. So it was basically my mom, my whole life trying to buy me. So everything she gave me, I would just take and just do whatever I wanted.
Because she felt guilty probably for not being or doing what she should have been as a mother.
Oh, she told me she apologized to me on her deathbed, but it was like, damn, I got this apology on your deathbed.
Yes, usually when you get it. Let me ask you this: when you were coming up and you were going through the situations with your stepfather, when did the abuse stop?
Abuse stopped when they took him out the house. I got an order of protection from the lawyer and the judge. When you go to court, you have to have actual proof. You see where I'm coming from? They don't go by he say, she say. So because by the time that, my friend spoke up, because I had a friend, she's like, I'm tired of this shit. Ray, you're not going to do something. I'm going to do something. And this was a little before I met my baby pops, my first baby pops. So I was like around 11 or 12 years old. DHS got involved. This went to court. But it was a little while, because of the time passed. And when they did the rape kit, I was already in a relationship with somebody. And my mom wasn't making it easy. So she was like, oh, but I need you to go that way. Not a conversation for you. Yeah. No. Go sit down. I gotta watch you. Wait, I said yes. And I'm like, wait. I had to think about what she said. I'm like, wait.
So how old were you when they tried to do the rape kit?
I was 12 years old. But see, you got to realize it took them months to do this rape kit, right? And like I said before, I was like, if y'all would have listened to me back then, y'all took him out the house in the beginning because y'all suspected it too. Social workers suspected it the same thing, right? That's why I say, fuck it. Nobody want to listen. Nobody want to pay attention in the system. That's the first time I ever the first time I ever learned that the system was rigged. I ain't trust no social worker, no lawyer, nothing after that. But crazy part is I should have because the lawyers was trying to help me. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't her fault the way DHS handled the situation.
Right.
That wasn't her fault. But I was young, stupid, ignorant. So it was like, I thought nobody cared. If my mom didn't care, why would they? So I just kept lashing out. I went from that to me, they was already giving me Xannies. So, I was smoking, popping the Xannies they were giving me, and I started drinking.
And this was all at 11 years old?
No, I started doing that around like 13, 14 years old.
You were really trying to numb the pain, even though at that time your stepfather was out the house. You were trying to numb that pain. Did you ever have a lot of nightmares about your stepfather? You still do?
To this day, I could only see a woman therapist. To this day, I only see a woman doctor. I cannot speak to a man. I cannot. You see where I'm coming from? I have to get a good vibe off these, a man for me to sit down and have a comfortable conversation with them like that. See where I'm coming from? I could goof around, I could joke around, but to get personal, unless I'm getting a good vibe, it can't be a mysterious vibe. It can't be this vibe that's making me anxious. I'm not feeling comfortable with no man. I still have issues. I've only been with a total of 5 men my whole life. I'm 35 years old. People are like, that's bullshit. No, it's not bullshit. It's just that
that's what you're supposed to. You ain't supposed to be going around there just being free with your body. I don't think. But
can you go over there, mama? Please do it for me. And I got you in a minute.
Yeah, you're supposed to be very selective, I would say. Don't just sleep.
But see, for me, it was awkward when I saw all my friends just comfortable doing all that, and I was the only ones like, nah, I'm good. And then when I did try, my PTSD would kick in. You see where I'm coming from? Or boy, I was like, fuck it. I'm like, y'all not gonna understand anyway. So I was really rebellious. Like I didn't give a fuck when I was 17 and I had my son, and the principal was like, I think my brother was having issues in school. The vice principal took it out on me. So I needed help. I was asking, I was like, look, I'm failing, but I'm failing because I'm of math. I need help. I was going to therapy around that time. So the therapist, she was trying to get me to calm down and stuff like that. They took me out of school because I lashed out real bad.
So you started, I wouldn't count sexual abuse, you being sexually active. This is somebody that actually took something from you. But I want to know, even after that, and your stepfather left the home, and you were there, and you were meeting young men. How was that interaction when you were meeting?
I didn't. I was always the shy one, always the quiet one in the corner. Always, my friends like, come on, get out that shell, but it wasn't that easy. It's not as easy as people make it seem when, it's like I have a fear of rats, right? I'm gonna put it like this. When I get a rat in front of me, right? It's not here, it's not today. It's my PTSD. I'm back, the flashbacks. That's what happens. Like it's flashbacks. So I'm gonna have a problem. Them flashbacks feel so real to the point where right now it took me my whole life. Like it's only been 7 years since I've had my daughter that I've learned how to deal with my panic attacks. So them flashbacks are not easy to deal with, especially when something feels so real. Like,
So you said you were 17 when you had your son?
Yeah.
So how did you meet that guy? Like, how was that relationship with you and that guy?
See, my baby pops was somebody I met. They took me to a party, right? I was 16. Oh, well, I was actually 15, but we went to this party and I met him there. At first, it was a little tricky to get us to talk to each other because I was being hard headed.
Mm-hmm.
But after I got drunk and like that, the conversation got a little easy. I got to know him and stuff like that. He was different. The way he talked to me, the way he treated me, he was way different from all the boys that I'm used to. The men
Mm-hmm.
around me, and I started to like him after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I stood with him. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, like in my head, like in the beginning, like I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like I didn't even ask his age because in the beginning, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I saw him as my way out of my mom's house. Because even
Right.
though I had an order of protection, she will still let that man in to come see my brother, my other two sisters, the two kids that she had with him. So
Oh
when people be like, "Why
wow.
you mad at your mom?" Because she chose a man over her kids.
So did he do that to your half sisters? Did he ever molest
I
them or
know
sexually
that
abuse them?
I need you to go that way. I know that he did it to my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My brother told me, I think we was what? I was probably like 10 years old when my brother told me. When my brother told me that he was doing things to him and making him do things, I snapped, right? And I snapped because I'm saying him like, how can you hurt him? Like, you see where I'm coming from? Like, why is you doing this to him? And I didn't even realize that he was doing it to the both of us. You gotta realize my whole childhood I was in and out of the hospital, and like in and out, seeing a damn mental doctor. So like when and how, like how, you see where I'm coming from? And I snap. Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like a lot of people know what I tried to do, and the people that cared about me sat here and they helped me. They helped me deal with the situation, the pain and everything, because I sat here and I grabbed a bottle of Clorox, and my
Mm-hmm.
mom was cooking that day. And my sister's godmother noticed what I was doing. I literally poured a whole bottle of Clorox in the beans, and I didn't say shit because I wanted my
Mm-hmm.
mom to feed him that shit.
Right.
But like she sat here and she sat down and talked to me. She's like, you could have killed your whole family. I was like, it's not my intentions. I want to kill him. I got put away. I'm not gonna say I got put away.
Mm-hmm.
I got put away. And
Mm-hmm.
all because I was trying to really just defend my. How is it going to end? Like I tell people, when you're in these type of situations, how do you stop the abuse when nobody believes you? When at the end of the day, this person right here gets away with everything they say and do. They say, "I promise you, I'm gonna do this," and they keep their promise. All they do is put fear in you. I got tired of being scared. I got
Mm-hmm.
tired. Like doing something against myself wasn't working. You see where I'm coming from? I was nobody listening. So why not do this? So even when trying it against somebody else, still got me put in the same place I didn't want to be.
So he was also molesting your brother as well, and you had no idea. Even of this, he didn't have any signs besides the time that he, beat him with the belt,
Mm-hmm.
and then he had to go to the hospital because of the stitches. So he told, what age were you when he told you that
Um,
he was being he had been molested by the stepfather?
I was 10, he was 9.
Okay. Um, okay, so let's fast forward it just a little bit. Let me address this. Amber, I'll give it to you afterwards, okay? I'll give it to you. Um, After you went through that situation where you ended up basically meeting a guy, a nice guy. You felt like at one point he was going to be your savior. So you ended up having your first child with him, your son.
Yeah.
Can you tell me some of the challenges in that relationship because of the things that happened to you? Like, how was your relationship as far as like sexual um I know you said you struggle with PTSD. Did you experience that with him because he was a male, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it's not easy. Like, now it's a little easier for me. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to enjoy sex because, like I said, I've had years of therapy. I've been in therapy since I was 5 years old. You see where I'm coming from? Like, I didn't know why I was in therapy in the beginning, but when I got older, I learned that it was because my mom was getting a check. Wow. I didn't really need it in the beginning. Like, you was drugging me up. Look what happened. That's why I'll be mad at my mom when people like I just hated women. I didn't trust nobody, but it was easier for me to talk to a lot of women because, like I told you, a lot of workers that did help me and helped me get out my shell were women, and the way they talked to me was way different compared to a man. So it was like, I don't know. Then the therapist at the same time is like, she was a woman. So it's like, I don't know. I hated certain women, and I'm going to sit here. I'm going to say I hated the women that carried themselves like my mom.
Okay.
And I still do.
Like putting a man before their children.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. So you had some struggles with that relationship. Now, like I told you before, you come off very tomboyish, and maybe some people can assume things about you. Can you kind of explain to me why you dress and or your persona is more tomboyish? Can you explain that to me?
It was worse when I was younger, but the tomboyish look came about because I really thought, at one point that if I would dress baggy, if I would dress like a boy, would the men stop looking at me? Well, my stepfather leave me alone. You see where I'm coming from? So that's what I'm saying. Like, when I learned about my brother, it was like dressing like a boy is not going to change the fact, because I didn't even know, at that point, I didn't even know that was, he could be bisexual. I'm older now. I could say it. As a kid, I don't think about that shit. I didn't even know it. I didn't even know that a man could look at another boy, at a boy like that. So it was kind of like, because I was told, boys are, supposed to be dating girls. Girls are supposed to be dating boys. Like, I would have never thought that a man would look at a boy, never mind. But,
yeah,
but it's crazy.
Sick minds.
Yeah. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, years of therapy has helped me a lot. Like, I saw a psychologist. The psychologist himself was saying that the medications wasn't helping me. They was making the situation worse. So, like, you gotta realize they had me on every medication until they put me on Xannies. Then when the Xannies, they noticed that the Xannies was like not really helping me, they try to switch it up and gave me everything in the family, from clonazepams to clonazepam to I forget what the other names are, but they had me on everything.
So they had that for your depression. You struggled with a lot of
basically they had diagnosed me with bipolar depression and PTSD. Then
so you would dress masculine because you did not want other men to be attracted to you. Was that like your alter ego? Was that something that you did to make yourself appear strong, or
I'm not gonna say yeah, because listen, as I got older, I noticed that there was more girls that had went through the same situation that I went through, right? And they went through the same thing I went through, and they taught me how to dress a little more girlier, because I got used to dressing real boyish. Like, this is like, I would say this is a tomboyish, girlish. Not what I'm dressed like today, but the way I normally dress now. Tight, the pants are tighter. You see where I'm coming from? The shirt's a little more girlier, but it's still a tomboyish look. But at the end of the day, it makes me feel more comfortable. It's like my own safe space. Like, it's not because I feel like I'm a boy or none of that. It's just, it shelters my body more. I don't know how to explain it. It's lesser looks. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but
it makes you feel safe.
Certain men don't give a fuck about that. Certain men use their imagination. And I learned that. Like, my baby pops, he's one of them that taught me. My daughter's father, he's like, when he told me that, he sat down and had that conversation. He's like, babe, I just want you to understand, right? No matter how you dress, a man is going to be a man. And at first I didn't understand. I'm like, what you mean? He was like, you're a woman at the end of the day underneath that clothes. All we got to do is use our imagination. That's it. And I'm like, oh, snap. Like, little by little, this man has helped me, you know, overcome a lot of my things, too. My. How can I say that? That person that was in a shell, that was scared of the world, that was scared of men, that was scared of everybody out there. Because, believe it or not, I was diagnosed as antisocial too. It was a point in time I couldn't be outside in a crowd around people. So I mean, I shielded myself. Something I created myself not wanting to.
So he's very patient with you, it seems like,
Yes,
and understanding to the point that he can kind of understand some of the things you've been through because you expressed it to him.
Yeah, and I'm not the first woman that he's had that's been through the same situation. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. I was stuck on stupid too when he said that. He's like, I've had females that have experienced this, like, you know, I've seen them go through so, you know, this, and that. And I'm like, damn, when he told me that, I was like, I've never heard a man talk to me like this. Like, my first baby pops, but he was still with the young boy mentality. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah. It's hard.
Do you now, since you've experienced, you know, your first baby's father and this man that you're with now, is your guard now more with men a little bit down? It's not as high as it was before because of the experiences that you had, or is it still the same?
I have a shield up, but I don't see men the way I used to. I don't think every man is going to hurt, you know, every female. I don't think every man is going to beat a woman, you know, just because, you know, I heard my dad beat my mom, or, you know, I've been through this, or, you know, I was going through this. What I went through, you know, this man made me feel, what he put me through, right? He wasn't even my man. He was my mom's man. This man over here is not going to put me through. So it took me a minute to realize it. And even though it was 2 men in my life that taught me that shit, they showed me different ways. Like, one was still childish in a way, even though he was in his 20s. You see where I'm coming from? But the other one was grown as fuck. Like, so both of them taught me something different. Not, you know, I'm not going to get hurt. I could sit here, put my shield down a little bit, fall back and relax. He's not going to make me do something I don't want to. If anything, he's respecting me. You know, he wants me to better myself. He wants me to come out there, you know, show who I really am, what I'm capable of doing. He don't want me to keep shielding myself, you know, come out the house. Like, you know, like, I love him for that. Like, at the end of the day, he won me. Like, I tell everybody, it's not normal. To me, it's not normal. Look at them. You look, like, if you was to see the men around me and the boys around me, like, half of them still need to grow up.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like, I'm glad I found you and I didn't make the mistake and find someone that's going to sit here and manipulate me, use me, and abuse me.
So I'm curious on, how did you two meet? Like, how did he approach you, or did you approach him?
Or
yes, your fiance. How did you?
Shit, it's the funniest thing, right? Because his mom lives down the block, and I didn't know of him until he came. He had, I think he just came for the first time after a while to visit, and it was Thanksgiving. It was me, my best friend. His brother is my best friend's best friend. It's crazy how to, it's hard to explain, but we all went down to his mom's house for Thanksgiving, and we met that day. And what's funny is, right, we had a love-hate relationship, because I was, like I tell you, I'm quiet. I'm always the one, because of my past. Like, you see me talk a lot on social media, but realize there's nobody around me. But when I'm in a crowd, it's different. When there's actual people around me, I'm always the one in the corner observing, listening.
You're the wallflower.
Yes, I'm always the quiet one. Like, and then the one that everybody goes to for advice for some reason. And I consider my house the house of confessions. People just come and just confess everything. But that day, like, with him, it was crazy because, like, I wouldn't talk to nobody, and he was like, "Look, man, screw that. I'm gonna get you to talk." So he tried and tried and tried. We used to smoke, right? And he would grab the Dutchess, and he was like, "You know what? You're not gonna talk to me." He's like, "Huh?" He wouldn't give me the heads up. He would just throw the Dutch at me. And one day I just snapped and the conversation just started. I really snapped on him. Like I was really going off.
So it's like your love, I would say, grew because at one point y'all were just cool, y'all were just friends, and then all of a sudden it was like
my best friend. Yeah, I was a little black diary. Like I was sitting here. I was like, no, listen. I would tell him like, listen, man, you overwhelming yourself. Like, chill. This girl's gonna come at you. Like you sitting here. Like I was his black diary. Like help him out on his relationships and everything. So we went from being best friends and boom, like. I would say like 2.5 years ago, he said, you know, can I marry you? I was like, all right.
So with you meeting a man that's safe, I would say he's a safe man because a stepfather wasn't safe and maybe some other people you've met weren't safe men. With him being safe, are you willing or have you been able to let down your guard when being intimate with him? If that's too much, you don't have to answer that.
I'm gonna answer it. What's crazy is with him, yes, the way he treats me, the way he carries himself, everything. Compared to my last relationship, and what's crazy is talking to him, I learned where I was insecure at in my last relationship. And what's crazy, I could honestly sit here and say that I was the wrong one because I was always creating the fights. And it was because, you know, at one point, it's like whenever sex would come around, I would try to avoid it. So, yeah, he taught me a lot. This one has taught me a lot compared to the last one. And not all men are the same. Like,
right.
I could really honestly sit here and tell you that he has patience with me, with my PTSD, with my bipolar, with my depression. He really has patience. And
so he's basically, I would say, between him and your children, they're your saving grace. Do you ever feel like taking your life anymore, or are those feelings still there?
You know that the last time I tried to take my life was before I had my son, my firstborn. That was the last time I ever tried to take. Like after I had my son, my whole life did a whole 360. My sons taught me love. They taught me how to love, how to receive love, because before I wouldn't receive love. I didn't even know how to love myself. I hated myself. I was blaming myself. I thought that, you know, me being a girl, because I was having a little body, I was used to be in sports. You see, I was in Girl Scouts for a while, like, and I did have a little body on me. Like, I used to like working out. So I thought that because of the way I used to dress as a little girl, you know, I used to dress real girly. I used to play with Barbies and all that stuff. Like, so you know how much of a change that went from me being, you know, a girly girl to being very tomboyish. Like that shows a lot.
Yeah.
Like my whole I changed my life completely. And then the girly sports, I stopped doing them and I went towards the boy sports because I thought, you know, maybe if I get stronger. Like I tell people, like China, the wrestler, when I started watching wrestling, China inspired me. And I thought that if I would work out and I would get a body like China, I could fight him. I could beat him. I could win. Like he wouldn't be able to pick me up, pin me down, none of that. So I really thought that by working out and fixing myself, I was going to become stronger. And covering my body would have people not looking at me.
Wow.
I didn't want to be a boy. I didn't want to. I was a kid being stupid, looking up to fairy tales and stories. You see where I'm coming from? Like, so, and then the way I would numb my pain was by getting high.
Like, what type of drugs did you get high on?
The same pills they prescribed me.
Oh, so there was no other type of
smoking weed and drinking. That's it.
Okay.
I never did anything else. It took me, it took me a minute to like stop taking the pills because once I had my son, my firstborn, I found out he had autism and I started asking questions. Wow. Why were y'all prescribing me medications? Especially throughout my pregnancy.
Right.
So I tell people that like I didn't smoke throughout my pregnancy. I wasn't doing that, but y'all were prescribing me medication. And my child does have autism.
So you have one child with autism. Now how many do you have in all?
3.
3.
2
Okay.
by the same, by my first baby dad.
Mm-hmm.
Both are his. Like I said, I was with him for a long time. I got with him at 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
I met him at 15. But he passed away when I was 23, 24 years old. So
Mm.
after that, my best friend became my fiance, and
Right.
he went from being godfather to stepdad to my boys.
Wow. It's amazing. So how is your brother doing? I know you said that
My
he kind
brother
of
passed away.
experienced things, but your brother passed away
He,
too.
yeah, my brother, because of our past, right? My brother started looking for love in all the wrong places too. Um, there was this girl he met that started playing with his head and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
he had SSI, and she got him used to, these drugs and stuff like that. I was
Mm-hmm.
gone. This was around the time that I was trying to come back because, I left. I had to get my head straight.
Right.
So I left with my baby pops. He took me away from everything. And when I came back, I was straight. Like, I was thinking better. I wasn't even suicidal. I wasn't mad at the world no more. He was going to
Mm-hmm.
therapy with me, everything. Like, I had stopped using medication because one of the first things that he said, he's like, look, listen, I've been there, done that. I don't think these pills are, helping you. Talk to the psychologist. Don't talk to your psychiatrist. So I was seeing all three. My whole life, I seen all three. I went straight to the psychologist and stopped seeing a psychiatrist. And I started
Mm-hmm.
talking to the psychologist, and the advice was different and better. Um, and our relationship got better. I wasn't, taking Xannies, clozapines, and whatever the heck they was prescribed to me. Yes. No,
Mm-hmm.
this cannot be your life. You need to go over there. Not a chat for you to read. Bye. Please, thank you. I said, look, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I want to give my condolences to Rachel. I didn't know your brother had passed.
Yeah.
So if it's not too much, your brother was going through some things mentally as well.
Yes.
And he kind of connected with some people that were not good for him.
Yep.
And can you tell me what happened after that?
Well, I tried to get. I was trying to get my brother help, especially after my mom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that it was a little hard, so I had to, get the judge involved. I didn't want to call, the cops or anything, but it was getting bad. My
Mm-hmm.
brother was taking this all started because they spiked him with something on his he was smoking weed with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Put something in his Dutch.
Wow.
So he almost lost it. He came back out the hospital and he was hooked on something. You see where I'm coming from? So he kept going back and he was getting this. And it was the same people from the chick that he was seeing. He really liked it, this girl, like to the point where, she made him believe that was his baby. You see where I'm coming from? That she had just had, but it was another man's. It is a crazy story. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but anyways, I got the judge involved, right? My brother found out that wasn't his baby. He started going crazy and stuff like that. He went and listened to me. Um, he got high off of he started popping, them strips, Suboxones.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what they are, they're called Suboxones. He was
Right.
popping Suboxones, popping the perks. Then they had got him hooked on this K2 thing.
Yeah, K2.
Um, so he was mixing all that up. He got catfished. He caught the train to California. Some chick said that I don't know what happened. I guess he sent some money, left the chick over here some money.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, he got catfished. He ended up in California, and this was around the time that we was trying to get him. Like, yo, we need one location, serve him. We could take him, get him into a place until the judge sees him. Not the way I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do it, but he's of age. You see where I'm coming from? So
Right.
the way I could do it was like this through the justice system. By the time the judge was going to see him, he was already out. We couldn't find him. So I get this call one day, and it's from California. And my wife was like, "Yo, babe, sit down. I just need you to, talk to this officer." I said, "Officer for what? From Cali? I don't know
Mm-hmm.
nobody in Cali." So, boom, he comes and this officer is just explaining detail by detail what was happening. And I'm saying, like, why is this officer telling me about this, person that they found? Boom, boom. Then when he gets to, well, the fingerprints were untraceable, so they found me through his DNA. I was his next of kin. And, you know, that's how the bullshit here on YouTube kind of started. You know the story after that with that person, because they was trying to help me with the GoFundMe. But yeah. Yeah, I got played on YouTube, you know, on my brother's, you know, they used my brother's death on me here. They said they won't help me, then a whole bunch of shit happened. That's why I was kind of like, really? But yeah, he passed away in 2022.
So somebody took his life?
No.
He took his life.
Got in front of a train. He wasn't on his medications. The officer was telling me from what he viewed on the camera, he was talking to somebody. And I said, yeah, he normally thinks he's talking to my mother since she passed away. So I'm guessing that in his head, he was having a conversation with my mom in front of a train station. I mean, in front of the train tracks.
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
See, this is why people really have to be careful about the things that they say and do to folks. You don't know what people have been through. And, you know, some people on here, they have such a, I don't care, that has nothing to do with me. But it's just about being a human and being empathetic and sympathetic with where people are and where people have been. And it really angers me when people lie or they put things on people that's not true instead of having a conversation with a person, instead of getting to know a person. And so this young lady has been through a lot, and I'm not wanting people to feel sorry for her, but what I do want people to do is to stop being so judgmental of people and ask people questions. If you want to know so bad, if you really want to know how a person really is, ask the person, observe a person. Don't just go by your first perception of a person. You don't know what people have been through. And I think what irritates me more than anything, do you understand what people, all the things you may have been through stuff, but how would you like somebody to tear you down? And the things that you've been through, how would you like somebody to tear you down? Even if people on here that don't know you, people are really evil and they're sick and they have no type of love or empathy or sympathy for anybody. And I'm not saying feel sorry for anybody, because we all have been through something. But treat people like you want to be treated. And I'm not going to go into that because you have me preaching and on something else. But I just wanted to say that because, you know, everybody have somebody in our family who is either struggling with mental illness, that is struggling with drug abuse. Don't take light of that. Don't make that content. Don't, you know, people have been molested, sexually abused. Don't make content out of that. How would you feel if it was you? And sometimes it is those people. That's why they come on here so angry and hateful and spewing it out and projecting on to other people.
That's a fact.
So I just had to say that because, like I said, you don't know what people have been through. And when you want to say people ain't built a certain way, you have no idea what people have went through. And where they are today was nothing but the grace of God. So that really pisses me off. But I'm going to get it back together. You know what I'm saying?
Some facts, though. Like, some people do that. That's why I tell people, like, in order to hurt me, you would have to find something much harsher than what I've been through. I mean, you think you could be harder than what I've been through? I don't think so. So what you know, like my elder said, sticks and stones will break my bones, right? But names will not hurt you.
Take me, you know, let's go back to your mother.
Me and my mom, we had a
you kind of had a, you know, of course you're going to have a challenging relationship with that because she didn't do what she needs to do as a mother. And that was to protect you. That was to protect you and be the mother that she should have been and kick his ass up out of there. Because anybody that sexually abuse your child and you allow that man to stay in that house and live is beyond me.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
I
why I
probably would
just
have been in prison. But I want you to take me to the point where, you're growing up, your relationship with her is challenging. When was when was the time in your life where you guys were, she was kind of seeing the error of her ways?
when I had my kids.
When you had your kids.
When I had my second kid is when my mom really started trying to change with me, but she still thought that buying me was the way. And I
Mm-hmm.
was lashing back even more. I used to tell her, like, I don't give a fuck about your money. Like, I showed her, I'm like, since I was little, I got my first job to show you it's not your money I want. I got a job just to show her it's not your money. Let me help you. Is it like, because she was an independent woman. She got paid good. Like, you see where I'm coming from? Like, I never understood why you needed him around. Especially as I got older and I started realizing, like, I was able to speak up. I was able to defend myself. Yeah. As I got older, it was different. Then I had people around me. But then there was them times that I would get in my bag and I would be mad and I would tell people to leave me alone. I don't want to hear it. I don't want nothing to do with nobody. I would leave. I would run away. Just do whatever the hell I wanted.
So you were very angry, which is rightfully so, that you should have been, I would think. You were very angry. So did she get sick? Because you said that, she
Yeah.
apologized to you on her
Her
deathbed.
around the age of 24, I found out my mom had tumors in her brain.
Wow.
Um,
How old
the
was she?
I was 24. She was in her 50s. She passed away when she was 56. I mean,
Wow.
50, 53. My bad, 53.
53. Okay.
I had to think she was born February 6, 1966. February 9th, 1966. Yeah, she was 53 when she passed away. She passed away on October 9th, 2020. Yeah, she was 53.
2020. Wow, you had a lot of deaths. Kind of, was it? Because what year was your brother when he passed?
2022. That's why he passed away. I knew, listen, like I told people, my mom was his real spine. Like she did
Mm.
everything for him. He's had schizophrenia. He got diagnosed with schizophrenia at the age of 3.
Just
And
like your father.
yes, yes.
So he had schizophrenia, and she was basically there,
For everything.
always taking care of him. And
Mhm.
so when she was on her, can you take me to that time when she's on her deathbed and you guys are having a conversation?
Before my mom passed away, my mom, listen, before she passed away, it was here in this living room, because I'm not going to forget it. She didn't pass away in this living room. She actually passed away in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I had her, I held her. Like, I'm never going to forget that. Like, she had a stroke. But before that stroke, she was having an argument with my brothers, blah, blah, blah. But we was having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And she sat down and she was talking to me. And she's like, I apologize for everything, And she kind of told me a lot, of her story with my dad. And what hurt me the most was like, you kind of ignored me because I reminded you of my dad. I'm a fucking split in the image of him. So
Mm.
you loved me, but you had some type of resentment because I reminded you of him. So that hurt me a lot. Like, okay, so I could see now why, you try to be a mom, but it's kind of like looking at me every day reminded you of him. So now you
Right.
hate me. And like I tell people, I'm like, to this day, like, all right, I got her apology, but does she love me? She loved you. I'm like, okay, she could have said that all she want, but my whole life, that's not what a mother does. A mother protects. A mother teaches. A mother, a mother shows. I'm like, yeah, she did a lot. She showed me how to cook. She showed me how to be a woman. But I got trauma behind everything she let happen.
Mm-hmm.
How
So
do
when
you
she apologized to you,
I forgave her.
your response was,
I forgave her.
uh-huh.
I forgave her. The last thing she wanted to do was hold my daughter in her hands,
Mm-hmm.
like my baby. She was real little at that time, and I let her hold my daughter, and I walked away because like it's like around that time, I don't know if it was the tumors, she will go back into the past too. So kind of like the old her would come out and we would start arguing. I walked away not knowing that, her and my brother was going to argue. I went to work. I get a call, your mom's had a stroke. I come over here. I call the cops. The ambulance comes. Boom, they take her to the hospital. The last thing I know is that when we had this conversation, she said she wanted to see her mom. So she said that she wanted to sell this house. Not sell this house. Put this house under my name, so that nobody could try to sell it because it's been in the family. She had this house for years. So we was gonna do all that, but I wasn't expecting her to have a stroke. I was hoping that she would get help, and my brother would get services, because that's what I did. I called every place that I can and started getting them services. And it's like, damn, like I finally got them to agree to get all this, and boom, she's not here. 2 years later, he's not here. It's like everything just started crumbling on me, and I didn't know what to do. I was stuck with everything. She left me with everything, like my siblings, my brother. I had to deal with my kids. And then like before she passed away, I had to bury the father of my kids. So I was still with a lot of anger and hate inside of me.
Right.
So
yeah, because you had a like death back to back.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. So
13,
how was it? How was it when the last day that you saw your mother? You were at the hospital.
The last day I saw my mom, she wasn't talking. The day she was in the hospital, she wasn't able to talk. She had a stroke, like right here. She was in the hospital. I know she didn't want the machine, because she told me she's against the life support. She wasn't an organ donor, none of that. So I tried to block all her wishes, but I know that one of her wishes was, I want to, speak to my to my mom. I want to see my mom one last time, right? Hold on one second. So what happened was, I told the doctor, I was like, my grandmom's on the way. I've never seen my grandmom. That was the first time I ever met her too. So I was like, first time I ever met her mother. I met my grandfather, but never her. But
where is she, in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, she's Puerto Rico. But my grandfather used to always visit before he passed. So I always saw him. But her, I never met her. No, I don't know. I never met her, so I don't know the lady from a can of paint. I'm sorry. So I asked, I was like, you know what? Leave the life support on her, right? And what's crazy is she was still breathing, like the life support. But when my grandma walked into that room and my grandma said, "Mamita, aquí estoy yo." Basically, she said, "Mamita, I'm here for you," right? The machine went flat. I was like,
so she was actually waiting for her mother.
She started bleeding. I was like, oh shit. The doctor's like, we'll take care of it. When they took me out the room, there was like, she passed away. I was like, oh shit. Like,
wow.
I'm like, why y'all lied to me? And there I was like, I'm thinking she's still alive. Like, so yeah, it was hard.
So how was your relationship with your grandmother after that? Did you get to spend some time with her?
No, because all she did was rub the past in my face, not knowing what was going on. So yeah, it was. I just left her. I was like, at the end of the day, I was taught that respect is earned, and unless you're gonna listen to me and not yell at me, I left her right there. I was like, you know what? I don't know you, so I just walked away. Cause I will curse somebody out. I don't know her. Like, people was like, you gotta respect her. I don't gotta respect nothing. Like, she gotta respect me. Like, she don't know nothing. Like,
so she was trying to
be in the house and all this stuff. Like, you don't even know what the heck is going on.
What was she trying to rub in your face at that time? Like, after your mother passed?
She was like, oh, you wasn't there for your mom. Da, 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 da. Yo,
wow.
In on her. Like, I really was about, I don't care if she was in her 70s, her 80s. Listen, I don't even know how old she is. Like, really, like, I never met you a day in my life. Not even my grandpa came and talked to me like this. Like, but if you don't know what's going on, don't say nothing.
So was your grandfather already deceased at the time?
Yeah, my grandfather.
Okay, so your grandmother was still living. Is she still living at this?
Yeah, she's like a whole damn Spider Woman. I don't know how the hell she.
Okay, so you have no communication with her?
No, because I've never did. That was the first time. My mom
and
did.
The last.
Yeah, my mom did. I'm not gonna sit here lie. My mom made trips to Puerto Rico, visit her. They had a bond. I don't know that lady. I had a bond with my grandfather. He would come from PR to visit us.
So let me ask you this: how is your relationship with your other half siblings? Like, can you tell me? Do y'all have like a strong relationship, or it's not really a strong relationship?
Our relationship is good. I have a brother. He's 25. 24 years old right now. He's got spina bifida. He's
Okay.
living on his own. They thought he was never going to walk, but
Wow.
he's walking. He's talking. He's doing a lot of things. He
Hmm.
wants to work, so hopefully he'll be able to do that sometime in the future. I have my other half sister. That's the one that I practically raised. So me
Hmm.
and her are like this.
That's
Um,
good.
she's got a fiance. She's about to buy a house. It's like none of them want to come back here. So now my other sister, I don't talk to her because she's just like her father.
The one that molested you
Yeah,
and sexually abused you. Okay.
yeah. Because
Um.
she has a habit. Listen, if she don't get her way with a man, she screams grape.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, Selena. Let me see who's at my door. They knocking on my door real quick.
Okay.
I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you guys for coming through.
Yeah.
Let me go up the list. If you're still here, if you've moved on, I understand. Thank you for pressing the like button. SBK, CX. We have Cortez, Melly Mel, Nature, Natasha. Thank you for coming through. SBK. SBK, don't forget to join the membership. And Real Chase, thank you for coming through. And my boy Slim, Angelo, Big Red, thank you for coming through. And my boy Duke, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you guys for showing me some love and showing Rachel some love. Hey, Chicky D, how are you? Thank you for coming through, Chicky. You guys check out Chicky channel. Chicky, if you could put your channel in as well as Slim's, Pick and Choose, as well as Duke. Real Chase has a channel. Angelo, if you could put their link in the chat, I would really appreciate it, as well as Rachel. L Boogie, you can, if you're still here, you can put your channel as well as put it Rachel's channel in the chat so people can sub up to her. She does poetry and spoken word. She's really talented in that. So you guys check Rachel out. So this is a very drooling, kind of trying, challenging story. To be honest with you, at first I
Not
kind of
easy.
was very hesitant of doing this because it's very draining for me
Mhm.
on the other end. And hearing your story, I know, and you telling your story is even more draining. That's a lot of pain to go through. How have you maneuvered throughout all of that pain? Because you have to be a strong lady.
You
I'm
know who
telling
taught
you,
me?
you,
My
huh?
son.
Your
When I had my firstborn, I keep telling everybody my boys taught me love. My daughter taught me toughness, how to sit down, toughen up, straighten up, get my attitude together. But them two boys taught me love.
mm,
And like it's like I tell people now, like one of the reasons that I'm in politics right now is my son, because I had to fight for him towards the school system. He was getting bullied. They was going to charge him with a felony at 11 years old. They was telling me to give up his rights. No, I'm not doing that. I was willing to give up the house. I stopped everything. I was like, listen, I don't care what I got to do or how I got to make some money,
mm,
but I need a real lawyer. Then I came across the real good lawyer here in Philadelphia, and he did it for free. And my son, I feel like he should have gotten better justice because
mm,
he still got adjudicated, which is kind of like probation. You see where I'm coming from,
right.
but at the end of the day, he got some type of justice. He got into a private school. You see where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
There was another lawsuit towards the school district, and like I told people, we could stand up. Like people try to put fear in me, but I worked around it. Like I'm about to lose my son. Like y'all telling me y'all gonna charge him with a felony for defending himself, and the
Mm-hmm.
teacher was the one that messed up. And then to top it off, y'all not seeing the fact that he almost committed suicide 2 times because in his head Like he screamed it in front of every teacher. What's the point of talking? What's the point of speaking up when nobody wants to listen? I'm like, damn, that threw me back. I said the same thing. What's the point of talking? What's the point of saying anything when nobody's listening? You can say whatever you want as a kid, but you're considered a liar. You're considered not knowing nothing. You don't know no better. You don't know what you're talking about. That's what the hell they tell you. My son said the same thing. So I started speaking up, and I stand like he almost like, no, man, like when he almost took his life, I sat here and I said, you know what, it's time for me to do something. And I started fighting against the school district. Like, I don't know, you get fed up.
Do you have any good memories of your mom?
I got a lot. Okay. The only thing I didn't like about my mom, like, was when she would drink. Because a lot of the stuff that happened to me was because growing up, I don't know what it was, because, you know, she was married to a Mexican. Every weekend it was a party. Every weekend. And that's when he would take advantage. Everybody would be drunk, messed up, or my mom would be out working, and, you know, stuff would go left for me and my brother. So, like, to this day, people be like, you don't like, no, I don't like parties. I never liked it. Like, I started hating birthday parties when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
It went from the touching to the, you know, being on your knees. Now it was great. So yeah, I hated parties. So to this day, I don't like parties. People's like, look, first of all, in parties to this day, I haven't seen one party where nobody gets drunk, where there's not a fight that happens, or somebody, you know, something's happening to somebody. Every party that I've seen or heard of in the hood, something goes down. So yeah, parties are the worst for me. And it's like, if I go to one, it's like going through PTSD. I don't make parties. I don't go to parties. I don't do none of that.
Oh, wow.
It's
what about some good memories about your brother? Can you tell me any good memories?
My brother got the best memories. Like, man, we did everything together. Like, we used to do everything. We used to go to the little haunted houses together, you know, pranks on each other. Like, we did everything. Like, when he got in trouble, I was always defending him. That's why I got in trouble in school. And the vice principal would get mad. But at the end of the day, he used to get picked on because my brother was shot out in the head. So yeah, the picking on, it always led me to defending him. But we was real good, like, until I had to help him, you know, get, you know, deal with his addiction and his mental issues, which he didn't want to get help for.
So did your brother have a good sense of humor? He was a lot of fun.
He was funny, yeah. He was real funny. When he was medicated. When he was not medicated, some people would get scared of him because, you know, sometimes he would be shut out. He'll start seeing. He'll make you, well, in his head, he will see the dead people. See where I'm coming from? Right. So he'll go around, he'll tell people, he'll rebuke them, or he'll start talking crazy and stuff like that. But under the medication and with the right support, he's real, like normal, me and you. He's goofy, he's funny to be around with. Like, they loved him when he was medicated. But when he would get like that, he get in his bag, people would get scared.
So you're at the age that you are now with 3 kids, a fiance. Tell me a little bit about how your pain became your purpose. I know you've done some things in your community. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
My pain, you know that when I started speaking up for my son back in 2019, right? I never would have thought that me speaking on my story and speaking on, you know, speaking up for my son would have turned me into a community activist. You see where I'm coming from? Because one, I thought I was just standing up for my son like a normal mother. I wasn't willing to lose my son. So, second of all, I was just doing the opposite of what my mom did. I was listening to my son and fighting for him. Like, I thought that's what mothers did. Because I always said I'm going to do the opposite of what she did. Like, I looked up to her in certain things. You see where I'm coming from? But then it's like, I didn't want to be a mother like her. I didn't want to be a woman like her. So I did the complete opposite. And before I stood up for my son, I was still in my shell. Like I tell everybody, I mean, when I stood up with him, I was pregnant of her. I was 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 35 now. So my pain when I started hearing the young ladies tell me that they've been through something similar to me. I never knew that people in my community was watching me on Facebook or YouTube around
Wow.
that time. So when I was mad at the lawyers, I was mad at my mom, I was mad at the school district, and it was telling me, yo, tell your son to give up his rights. Tell your son, I'm like, yo, no. One day I just came on Facebook and I was learning how to do the restream
Mm-hmm.
too. And I was off with, I was on Jack Daniels. I'm not gonna say I was off Jack Daniels. I lit a blunt and I just went off on my mom's whole family, my mom, the school. I just went off on everything and just told my story. And I never thought that, I would get inboxes, on Instagram, on Facebook telling me, I'm going to start going to therapy. I didn't know that you could overcome this. I was feeling so small in a circle. Like I was going through the same thing. Like, I didn't even know that, there were moms that were molesting girls.
Sick.
That one I didn't know. You see where I'm like, that was new to me. I knew that, moms would molest the little boys, the dads would molest little. I went to therapy. I heard stories. You see where I'm coming from? And little boys would go that way. Then there was, the kids saying whether they were boy or girls that would just go through PTSD. Because believe it or not, all boys that go through this type of trauma don't always end up being GAY. They're straight. They get married, they have kids, and they try to live a normal life. The problem is the sex. That's the biggest problem. And I don't know what it is to this day. A therapist or a psychiatrist hasn't been able to answer why that during, sex, you'll get flashbacks, this and that. They just call it PTSD.
Do you think that you've forgiven those people, your mother, your stepfather, or anybody else that has hurt you?
I forgave my
brother?
mom. I forgave my mom a long time ago. I mean, all I ever wanted from my mom was her love and affection. I gotta tell people, that's all I ever wanted. Want her to listen. I mean, it's crazy. It took her to be, close to her death to
realize that.
Yeah, but him, may God forgive him because I could never.
Do you think that you can be free without forgiving him, or are you?
Yeah, because I don't need to be around him. I mean,
he's still living.
Listen, he's still living. He's still walking around. Last I heard, he got together with another female. You see where I'm coming from? That's got kids. And when I exposed him on Facebook, he made his, I guess he blocked that joint. He blocked me from Facebook and made a whole joint. I didn't even know he was on Facebook. So my thing is, when his John came across my stream, and I was like, oh shit, this motherfucker. I'm like, is he doing this to other kids? I got in my bag one day. It was like a trigger, and I just started saying all this shit. This is the man that did this to me. Be careful. You got little girls. I just gave a warning. That's it. He's still walking because my mom did the stupid mistake to defend him. Because if he was found guilty, they would have deported him to Mexico. That's why I was so pissed at my mom. Like, really though? Now he's out here walking. You didn't need him. You didn't need his money. You didn't need nothing. You didn't need no child support. So what the heck was and I'm to this day, I could never understand it. And I asked her, what was the point? You was an independent woman. You had good jobs. And then you had kids with checks from the damn government.
Wow.
So my thing is, like, you never needed a man. Why keep him around?
Did you ever have any unforgiveness towards your brother for taking his life, or did you just say, just because
I was never mad at my brother. I was never mad at my brother. I just felt like everything I was doing was in vain. Like, that's what it made me feel like. I was like, damn, I worked so hard. I was this close. In 30 days, you went missing. And in the 30 to 60 days that we wasn't in contact with you, you're gone. I was like, all you needed to do was see this judge. All the judge needed to do was see how he was acting, how he was talking. And the judge would have put him in the proper place. Because these regular programs out here don't work. He needed real help. He needed to get detoxed first. Then he needed to go into a mental facility. And the only one that could approve that was a judge. Unfortunately.
Do you feel free?
Do I feel free?
Mm-hmm. Because sometimes I know
Wait,
for
how do I take that
me,
question?
when you don't forgive or you struggle with forgiveness, sometimes you feel a little heavy, like you don't feel, you just feel heavy with burdens, like it's like a weight on you. And so I know for me, so when I struggle with forgiveness, I understand it makes me feel like I'm stuck. So that's what I mean. Do you feel free?
I'm free. This man is nowhere near around me. You see where I'm coming from? I haven't
But
seen
I'm
him for
talking about like
years.
emotionally. We know physically this man is it has no, he's not attached to you physically, but I'm talking about emotionally, mentally, because you said you still struggle with some of those nightmares, and maybe every now and then when you're intimate with your fiance, sometimes those flashbacks come back. And so that's what I wanted to know, because sometimes unforgiveness can keep us stuck in a place.
See,
um
my thing is though, like, I don't know if I'm gonna ever get rid of that. It's something that's gonna be real hard, like the psychologist said,
mhm,
because it's kind of like how you control your nightmares. You see where I'm coming from? It's something impossible. So I'm not dealing with medications. I learned how to overcome the situations, deal with them. Like, it's kind of like suppressing them, kind of, in a way. I don't know
mhm.
if you understand where I'm coming from. Like,
You can suppress some things only so far.
yeah,
Yeah, and
but
then it comes to a point where you're going to have to, as you face it, you're going to have to find ways to actually deal with it to the point where you're like, I have to be done with this. And
yeah,
this is going to take a while to happen. Um, but you're
I mean,
going to have to.
I made it a long way. I've overcome a lot, right?
Mhm,
I mean, in my PTSD, I've been able to control it. I'm doing real good with it. So, have I forgive him? I don't know. Maybe when I think about it, I could tell you no. Subconsciously, maybe, because I've moved forward. I don't
mhm.
know if you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I
When
can
I speak
understand.
on it, it's like I feel as though there's no justice. And what if he's still doing it? So when I speak on it, it just throws me to the I don't know who else is going through what I went through, because he's around so many kids that I know personally, because I talk to his kids. I mean, I talk to one of his daughters every day. I'm close to one, not close to
Mhm,
the other one. So both of them are his daughters.
mhm,
That's the crazy part. But my younger sister, the one that I'm with like this, close like this, she's more like, she's so different from my mom. She's so different from him. I don't know. But we is real close. Um mm.
I'm speaking through experience. We have to be very careful that we do not allow bitterness to take such a root in us where it penetrates our whole life.
See, because he's not around me, I could honestly sit here and tell you I'm free. But if he was in front of me, could I tell you that I'd be as calm as I am right now?
No,
No.
you would want to kill him.
Yes.
I
So yeah,
mean, and
it's
you
always been
have,
like that.
and
Like,
I understand why you would want to do that.
I
I mean,
confronted him one day in front of everybody. When I tell you that my baby
mhm,
pops almost lost his, he almost lost his freedom because of that, because he came in here. My mom was in a hospital. I was taking care of my siblings. And I don't know what happened. I just snapped on him, and that's when
mhm,
my baby pops learned the whole, because I just said everything. Like, I said it, like, it's your fault. You did this, you did this, you did this, you did that. Da, 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 da. Then my uncle got in it. My cousin came out. Everybody's like, wait, what? Cuz you was, I'm like, my mom knew this the whole time. I'm like, y'all didn't know? It's a miracle she kept this a secret. So that's when everybody, like, boom, my baby pops grabbed the knife. My cousin grabbed the bat. My uncle grabbed something. Somebody called the cops. He, like, they was holding him down, and I'm like, oh, this shit's about to go left.
mhm.
But my sister's godmom was able to calm the whole situation down, because a lot of people didn't know what was going. Like, that's what I'm saying. When he's in
A lot
front
of
of me,
people
it's
don't know what
different. It's different. And I was already a grown ass woman. I thought that I could just really, but it's like sometimes I still think like how many more girls are going through it and not speaking up, because his way of shutting you up is by putting fear, and he will keep his promise.
That's what usually abusers do. They definitely want to. They know how to manipulate the other person, as well as they know how to be controlling as well. I would say he was very manipulative to your mother in a lot of different ways. Facts. To make her feel like you were lying, that he wasn't doing the things that he was doing. And he also had a lot of control as well. And usually some people, especially abusers, know how to control with manipulation. And it's unfortunate, but it's a lot more families that's going through this than we think. Even some families that are not in the hood, some of the families that are in affluent neighborhoods. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Not people that have money. Facts. They're going through some of the same things. They, and it's really, it's really sad.
That's why I tell people that, how a lot of people started bringing up the Menendez case, and I didn't know about it, right? And unfortunately, around the time that all this was going viral, I was young. I was going through what they was going through.
Right.
So, but the OJ Simpson case and all that, I was young, so I didn't know that, I heard about the menudo and all that stuff growing up, right? But I didn't know it was done by the same person that was doing this to, But at the end of the day, now that I'm older, and I tell people, I'm like, look, now that I'm hearing this case, they're like, you don't see them as guilty. I was like, look, they're guilty for killing their parents. But I could honestly sit here and tell you, I could relate to them boys when they were young men. Because at the end of the day, I understand why they reacted the way they reacted. Y'all keep saying it was, premeditated, but what if it wasn't? What if, because if, it happened all within days. You see where I'm coming from? What if, because it threw me back to when my brother told me what my brother told me, and it took somebody to sit my ass down. Like, yo, you could have killed your whole family. They wanted their dad did. Their mom wasn't really in the picture. You see where I'm coming from for them killing them, but they felt betrayed by their mom. Yeah. So it's kind of like one brother told the other brother a secret. You see that he was holding from him. He didn't know that this was happening to him, even though it happened to him when he was younger. And the brother, him being older, could have, at that moment, all right, this got to end. We're going to do this. All right, they was thinking about it, yes, but it's at the heat of the moment. Do you call that premeditated when you're thinking about something and doing it at the heat of the moment? Because when when you're scared, they're like, oh, but one was 21, one was 18. So what? Look at their situation. Parents that kept them sheltered their whole lives. Everywhere them kids was, so was their parents. What what space? They had no privacy.
Tell you, this is so. That's what I'm saying. You're like, going through all of this in your life, from the past to the present and to where you are now, and then you come on YouTube trying to do your content.
No, I came on YouTube really trying to. I really came on YouTube trying to put a petition out for my son. That's how I started YouTube. I started the petition out. Let's put cameras in our schools. Blah 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 blah. But one day I just came on and I just snapped, telling not just one story but another, because I'm snapping at more than one person. So I would, like I said, my story wasn't meant to really come out here, but it came out of the heat of the moment. Me being pissed, acting on emotions.
So that's why you were trying. You were trying to protect your son. He was being bullied. There was a situation that happened. I this is a legal case, so I'm not gonna go into too many.
Oh, I won that case, so
okay. But anyway, you came on to YouTube because you were actually defending your son.
Yep.
And you were making people aware of what was going on. Yeah. And so as you came onto YouTube and you're sharing your stories and you start meeting people and engaging with people in the chat, like, do you regret coming onto YouTube and telling your story, or do you believe that it was just a divine intervention, or it was something that you were called to do, your purpose?
At first, I was nervous
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know how to deal with the lashback. There was people talking stuff, rubbing stuff in my face, like like to hear some people say, "Oh, you probably deserved it," or and stuff like that. In the beginning, it was
Wow.
hard. So at first, it was hard, but after a while, it was kind of like listening to the young ladies write to me and like listen to them and what they was going through. Some stories were way worse than mine.
Mm.
So it's kind of like I don't know if it was meant to be, it was meant to be, but it happened, and I could never turn back the hands of time. It's out there. Like nobody paid attention when I was talking about the petition, but everybody paid attention when I sat here and talked about a grape story. That shit was like, oh snap! And then when I realized when I came to, and I'm saying here, I'm like, people actually paid attention. I'm like, I really got views on that, John, and I never expected that. That wasn't my intentions. I wanted people to pay attention when I was speaking on the bullying in the schools, trying to get these cameras in. And I'm saying, I'm like, all right, I got 10, 15, 20 views over here, maybe 100 views over here. But you're telling me this one video made it to 30,000 views? I was going to delete it until I saw my inbox on Instagram and Facebook. And I was like, oh shit, y'all was listening. It was different. It hit me different. Like, I don't know. It made me feel different. So I was like, I might as well just keep talking and bringing awareness on it. And I started reacting to videos and started making sex crime videos, like, and started diving deep into, videos, that were put out there from law and crime and, cold cases and stuff like that. And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna be like Olivia Benson. Let's figure out what's going on and what's happening. Should this person be behind bars? Should this person not be behind bars? See where I'm coming from? And then another thing that, like, when I went through what I went through with my sister, accusing my baby pops, not this one, my first baby pops of rape and stuff, because he went to jail for that, and then was found innocent because she was lying. That also started me to fight for men's rights. Like, I had two sons. You see where I'm coming from, and I never wanted my boys to ever go through what he was going through.
Right.
And I kind of started speaking on that after a while when I realized that my story was, helping out young ladies out there. And I was like, damn. And then when I had two other female, content creator, well, one was a subscriber, one was a content creator, come up on my panel and speak to, their similar stories. My DM started blowing up. I was like, oh, okay, more females want to see this. They want to hear about this, want to learn how to overcome, their these type of situations. I didn't know that you could inspire and motivate somebody like that. I just kept going. So
it's kind of funny when I look at you, because it's like you want to hide, but at the same time you want people to hear you.
Yeah,
and I think
like, sometimes I feel like some people don't care. So it's kind of like, why even talk about it? But in the same breath, I see the ones that care. Why punish the ones that care for the ones that don't? Which is a few.
Exactly, because it is some people that care. It really is. It's some people that care, and that they've been through something close to what you've been through, or they know somebody that has experienced what you've been through.
It's a different feeling,
right. But I would say, because the world is the way it is, it's so self-centered, it's so selfish. You have so many people that are into just drama, rather than, real topics, real stories that, that maybe that can help someone or help themselves, and I would say most people don't care.
Yeah.
Because if it ain't about them or nobody that they know, they don't care. They will, I would say, care more about a celebrity dying rather than a person, that may be living their community.
That's a fact.
And that's unfortunate.
That I've learned through social media, right? Like, a lot of us that are survivors, right? There's no safe space for us on social media. There's none whatsoever.
Sure.
So like I tell people, like, I don't look for a safe space on social media. I look for a place, to bring awareness. And if I'm going to somebody's channel, like on yours, that's why I say, look, listen, I've had so many people ask me for like, let me interview you, let me do this, let me. I'm like, no, because my story's not a joke. But I watched Selena, and I was like, Selena, let me ask you to interview me, right? So that way the interview could be out here and nobody else can ask me. Look, I've been on interviewed already, but let me pick the person, because when it comes to these topics, it's not a joke, it's not a game, right? And I respect Selena because I've seen her interviews, and she takes her interviews a little serious. So
yeah. Like I said, I have to kind of get myself together sometime, because I'm like, okay, you know.
No, but see, I know why people want to also do it, and I feel as though like, nah, you're not gonna sit here, and take my kindness for weakness. Because at the end of the day, y'all think I'm weak because I've been through this or I've been through that, and y'all notice that I don't react to this or I don't react to that. I'm quiet. It's not the dog that's not barking you got to be scared of.
Now I keep saying that.
I mean, it's not the dog that's barking you got to be scared of. It's the one that's not barking. I said that John backwards.
People don't believe you. They really, just because you are to yourself, you're more reserved, you really try to be level-headed. They think that, oh, you're not built that way. They think you're weak.
But I am.
But
see,
they just have no idea.
If I react on my anger, people don't understand. Like, all right, if you go towards something that I care about, like my kids, I can't promise you I'm gonna be nice. So I try to be humble. And I've had people test me, trust me, and it's taken me a minute. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that 7 years ago, this is the Rachel you would have gotten.
Right.
Now, since I've had my daughter, it takes a lot. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, because if I'm telling her not to do this, not to be like this, why am I then on social media? You see where I'm coming from? Like, I'll be a hypocrite. At the end of the day, it's like it takes. I got a lot of people that care about me, and then I know my daughter looks at this. You see where I'm coming from?
Right.
And people be like, but I'm like, I talk to my kids about everything. They know about stranger danger. We have the conversations. They ask this, they ask that. Everything they hear in school, they come here and they talk to me about it. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat things for them. She's 7, going on 8. My other one's 15, going on 16 next year. So why would I sugarcoat anything? They got a question, I'm gonna answer it with the truth. I'm gonna be honest. Hold on, sit down.
Well, I tell you, this has been a very interesting live. Well, what I want to ask you this question. What would you say to a little girl that was just like you, or a teenager that has been experiencing sexual abuse from someone in their household? What would you say to that little girl or that teenage girl?
At times, it may seem like, let that go for a sec. At times, it may seem like nobody cares when you're speaking up, but there's somebody actually listening, right? And it's going to take time. We can't give in to the pain. We can't react to the emotions. There's always a way out. So when we react to our emotions, right, and we don't take the time to think on how we do certain things, right, whether we're little or we're grown, we're teens. You could be a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old. You see where I'm coming from? It's our emotions. When we react on them, it's how people going to perceive us. Because there's little kids, you see where I'm coming from, that say this and say that, and people don't see them as liars. And it's because, I don't know if it's the way they're raised or what, right? But put it like this, let me make a long story short, right? Listen, there's always going to be a person in there that's going to care enough to sit here and help you. And it may seem like they're not helping you at that moment, but when it comes to these type of cases, like I was told when I was younger, we need to prove, we need to show evidence. You see where I'm coming from? And at the end of the day, right, all that pain that we feeling when we're young and we're going through what we're going through, there's going to be a point in time where we're going to be able to, pour all that into something that we're good at, whether it's a hobby, something, you grow up into, like, it doesn't matter what you choose to do when you grow up. For me, I ended up being a community activist. I'm out here, I'm helping the kids. Instead of hurting, right, I learned, right, instead of hurting other people like the way I'm hurting, I learned that by giving and by helping others, it feels better. Like the whole time I was hurting more, because at the end of the day, I was doing things I didn't want to do. I was just reacting to all of my emotions as a child, as a teen, and as a young adult. And the worst thing that we could do in these type of situations is act on that emotion. And I didn't realize it when my therapist was telling me as a kid. But see, if I would have been honest with my therapist as a kid and not reacted on fear, but as a kid, how do you know? See, but I didn't speak to my therapist. My therapist would have helped me out. And it's not good to keep it a secret. I know, but it's hard, right? Who you turn to as a kid? I understand a lot of people, but there's someone out there that's willing to listen. Believe it or not, like it's like I know that sometimes, as females, like to me, and I've heard other females say the same thing. It makes you feel dirty. It makes you feel like it's your fault, and then you're trying to figure out why they're doing this to you, not knowing what's happening to you. So these are things you could actually overcome. Like I said, like I can't talk for somebody else, but for me, I just wish I would have did things a little more different. But mostly my emotions, that hate, yeah.
But what would you? Let me ask you this question: What would you say to that young Racheal? The one that's inside of you, because I don't care what nobody say. If you're a grown person, you still have that little Racheal, that little Selena that's still there, and you learn to grow up, but it's always going to be that inner child within you. What would you say to that little Racheal that's still there?
Shit, if I was to be able to turn back the hands of time and be able to speak to the younger me, man, I'll tell her not to worry. Right, man. Shit, I wrote this shit down. Hold on. Let me write the right words. You think I'll play it up?
You tell her not to worry, and what?
Damn, I wrote this shit down. That's crazy how
I just want you to think it on top of your head, just top of your head.
Listen, as time goes by, things will be different, right? That my worries would turn into courage, right? And all my fears would fade. You see where I'm coming from? I'm gonna turn into somebody, that is going to be, a parent, somebody that inspires, somebody that fights for what's right all along. Like, I mean, there's so many things I can go back in time and say, like, I know that I'm going to go through a lot of things. There's going to be so many obstacles in my way. You see where I'm coming from? But I'm going to grow up to be somebody that turns that pain into motivation by helping others.
That's fine. What would you say to your mother if you had one more time to speak with her? What would you say to her?
I never thought about that. Damn, I don't know. You got me thinking. Because when my mom passed away, that there was this big relief in my chest. I was really able to talk about my story. I was able to go search for my dad. When she was alive, I wasn't really able to talk about it. It was like when it was brought up, it would bother her. So it's kind of like, I don't know. But I forgive her. What would I say to her? I don't know. I could honestly sit here and say, I don't know. I wish that she would have been a mother instead of a woman. More of a mother, because she was more of a woman instead of a mother my whole life. So maybe that.
What would you say to that abuser? If you had a chance, if you had a chance to see him, what would you say if you saw him face to face?
That I'm building a casket for him, and hopefully I could bury him 7 feet under. I'm dead serious. I feel as though he hasn't changed. Does he deserve forgiveness? I mean, if he does, only God knows. So I'm gonna always say, may God forgive. Why would I say I forgive him, right? If deep down I'm still gonna hate him. When you forgive, you don't feel them type of emotions. So I can't honestly sit here and say I forgive him, because I don't think I ever did, and I don't think I ever will. What he did deserves a punishment, and he never got it. So to me, he deserves to be 7 feet underground with every other predator. Like, there's no curing that. Like, I feel as though he's still doing it, so I can't forgive him. Okay. I say, vaya con Dios to my abuser. Yeah. May he be with God, yo. For real, for real.
You know, um, that is a very touchy, feely kind of subject. And I can't tell you how to feel. I can't tell you what to do. But what I will say is, don't
Yeah,
let anybody.
in a minute. You're not touching that knife by yourself.
Don't let anybody hold you prisoner.
That's a
That's
fact.
all I can say.
I don't feel like I'm a prisoner anymore because I've come a long way. Like if you was to sit here and have a conversation with my baby pops right now, my fiance, he'll tell you how far I've come. Like
Yeah,
it's to the point where I don't need therapy no more. Um,
right.
like 6 years ago, the therapist told me, unless you don't need me, I've been able to control my PTSD. I've been able to control my panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I feel safe with him. It's different. Like I may I don't know, maybe with my baby pops I messed up because I was still mad.
But you
And
know what? I don't know you, but I can say just from talking to you, from the brief, times that I've talked to you and, interviewing you now,
yeah,
I think you're doing exceptionally well because some people that went through what you've been through would have unalived themselves.
I tried,
Even
but
though
God
you
wouldn't.
tried, but
He don't want me.
God didn't allow it because if you did, then you wouldn't be here. But so many people go into mental hospitals,
I was there. I don't want to.
because or insane asylums,
Yeah, I don't want to go back to them, Johns. Trust me.
yeah, so some people would be so messed up that they could not even bear to live. I wouldn't want to live. And the fact that you are thriving, you
Can I?
still have your challenges, but you are thriving. You are taking care of yourself as much as you can. You're trying to be a parent to your children, a better parent than you had. And I think that you are doing exceptionally well, Rachel.
Can I be honest with you though? Like,
Mhm,
remember I told you the last time I tried suicide was before I had my son,
mhm,
right? The last time I tried suicide was when I was pregnant with my son. They 302'd my ass because I sat here, I grabbed the knife, I was scared, right? I was having problems with my baby pops. I had just had this big argument and I told him to leave. I didn't want to ever see him again. And I grabbed this big knife and I started cutting my stomach, right? And I said, I'm sitting here, I was going through PTSD at the time and I didn't know it. So I kept screaming was like, I can't get pregnant. If I get pregnant, my baby's gonna go through the same thing. What if it's a girl? If it's a girl, I really went like through a
mhm.
whole a big downfall.
Right.
So I went in voluntarily this time, but when they saw the cuts and everything, it went from being voluntary to mandatory.
Right.
And I didn't know they was gonna do that. But I'm not mad and I don't regret it that I went voluntary because I could have done something more stupider. And y'all gotta realize this was maybe 2-3 years after they gave me that order of protection. You see where I'm coming from? So it's kind of mm, like once I had my son, I gave birth to him. Everything was different. I had a little boy, and like I don't know, like his dad was different with me after we had him too. It's like
Mhm.
he tried to change, he tried to do things a little different. But my way of thinking started changing. I was a little protective in the beginning. You see where I'm
Right.
coming from? I wouldn't let nobody touch my child. I wouldn't let nobody around me. I was living on my own too. So it was a little hard. I started losing a couple jobs because I wouldn't let
Mhm.
nobody babysit my child. But after a while, my relationship with my mom started changing and she started kind of like helping me a little bit
Mhm.
with him. So I can honestly say that once I had him, a different Rachel was born. I don't know if I grew up or, having him made me see life different. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I'm able to protect somebody now. I'm not going to ever let somebody, do what was done to me. I'm going to be a different mother. I was different once I had him. He changed my way of thinking. Like I told a
It
lot of
was
people.
your saving grace.
Yes, he was. And before I had him, like I said, like the last time I ever attempted suicide was before I had him. And with the therapy and everything as I have, because like I was going with my mom in the beginning. She started going with me. It helped me a lot, and I started seeing things different with her, and it helped our relationship for a while until the tumors came about, and my mom started going into the past and stuff like that. So we was good for that good period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
what is the last thing that you would like to leave the audience and leave me
um,
with your message? Like, do you have a message, or is there
listen,
something that you want to leave to us
yeah,
about?
no matter what we go through, no matter
Mhm,
what we overcome, no matter how dark our past, right? Our past doesn't determine who we are. It doesn't
mhm,
determine who we're going to become and what we're going to do in the future, right?
mhm,
And at times we could be our own worst enemies, and we have to learn, right, that in order to see any change within us or anything around us, right, we have to make that change. We have to learn how to love ourselves, respect ourselves. Sometimes it just takes looking at that other person in the mirror, and just motivating yourself, telling that person you could do this, don't give up,
mhm,
you're going to accomplish this, like. But the whole point is never giving up and trying your best, and whatever pain is in there, find what you could put that pain, that focus into. Like I said,
mhm,
with me, it was working with the community, with the kids, helping other people out, like getting the kids focused on starting their own businesses, getting them off the streets, getting these cameras, doing something with it, that doesn't seem that what I'm doing is in vain. So at the end of the
mhm,
day, like, I felt like I was in a dark hole one point, but helping others, right, made me feel better. Like, I came
mhm.
out of that dark hole when I started shining my light. So don't ever let nobody darken your light. Shine that John, man, as bright as you can, and you know, come out that hole. Cause the world is scary and the world is cold, but at the end of the day, we're here for a reason, and we could do whatever the hell we put our minds to.
No, that's right. Amen to that, Rachel. You don't preach the sermon.
No, because
So
it was hard.
thank
Like
you.
I said, man, I've
And
heard so many females, and
I'm
it's
gonna
funny.
say my last words to you for tonight. But I thank you so much for trusting me with your story. I hope that I gave you a platform where you felt safe and you were comfortable with some of those challenging things that you had to talk about, that I asked you about. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity and choosing me to do your interview. This information is to actually to inform people, but also encourage people that you're not the only one that has been through those things, that has been through some situations at home where they have been, taken advantage of and abused. So what I will say is speak out, regardless if you think you're not going to be heard by anyone.
Thank
Speak
you.
out. Somebody is going to
There
hear
you
you.
go.
Somebody is going to help you. Like I said, but you have to not let anyone make you fearful. And it's kind of easier said than done, especially when you're a child. But I always will tell children, if something is not right, if something is going on at home, tell somebody. Tell somebody. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's not, sometimes it might be more than one person you might have to reach out to.
But
Somebody's going to hear you.
facts. And let me add something, right? And if it's in your house that you're feeling, if it's in your house that the abuse is happening, seek help outside. Whether it's
Mhm,
a social, I mean, I wouldn't say just seek help on anybody out there, but if you could reach like a counselor or social worker, anybody that you
mhm,
know that works like that, I would say, talk to them. Don't be scared, because at one point I was, because fear was put into me. You see where I'm coming from? So
mhm,
don't let nobody put fear into you. And I want y'all, to understand, right? Whether you're a child or a parent, that sometimes it's not a stranger who could sit here and hurt you, the one you care about. Sometimes it's the ones closest to you, the ones that you would never think will harm or hear in your child's, body.
right.
So don't keep thinking, oh, because I'm related to this person, or I'm friends with this person, they're never gonna.
Mhm,
Sometimes it's the closest ones to y'all, so y'all just gotta be careful. Don't trust nobody, and watch their behavior, because the red flags are there. But
red
sometimes,
flag.
I don't know if it's embarrassment or shame that people ignore the red flags, or
Yeah.
because they love somebody that they ignore the red flags, but
Mm-hmm.
they there. You just got to be cautious.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
on that
the
note,
red and just some of the red flags are what for those
it's a lot.
women that don't pick it up or men that don't pick it up.
I mean, there's a lot. I can't tell you because I haven't been with one, but they there.
They're
They
there.
there. Like it's a lot of stuff. Like if you notice, like listen, one thing I could tell you is that I noticed that with me talking right, like in them groups and stuff, and listening to other people tell their stories, we all have one thing in common. Be careful with the men and the women that are staring at your kids, are real touchy with your kids, are super friendly. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
how beautiful. Que
Mm-hmm.
hermosa, trying to, help you out, bathe your kids. You see where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just leave your kids alone with anybody. And if you
I
have
know that's
somebody
right.
babysitting your kid, nanny cams, something, because people say I'm tripping, but at the end of the day, I've learned from what happened to me in my past, and I'm not going to let it happen to my kids in the future.
I know that's
So
right.
we got to take all precautions to avoid this. And in order to not call a child a liar, if you have issues believing a child, put them cameras up, because
Mm-hmm.
kids don't automatically lie just because. Not that big. Something is happening. Y'all got to look at the signs. Because,
Mm-hmm.
listen, when you notice that your child is lashing off for no reason, you
Mm-hmm. Or
detect that.
acting different around certain people
The
or
behavior change. Listen,
mhm.
like I just told, Selena, when and I'm glad she asked me that question. You know, I went from being a girly girl, dressing very girly girl, dresses, stockings, little dressy shoes and all that stuff, to
Mhm.
going to dress tomboyish. The
Mhm.
flags are there when your kids change. You should notice it when, as a grown ass man, why is, or a grown woman, why are they behaving certain ways around your
Mhm.
kids? And then when your
Right.
kids' behavior change towards that person, listen, don't just hear them out. Listen, because that's the problem that I've noticed, not just with my story, but with a lot of stories, that
Mhm.
nobody's listening. And that's the issue that every kid has. And it leads them to commit either suicide or numb themselves with drugs. And I know Selena is not Selena's first time hearing somebody that's go through
Mhm.
this say this. And I'm just letting y'all know, listen, there's so many ways I can go about this. I did them all.
Mhm.
Like, so just keyword, listen to them kids. Yo, don't just
Yes,
ignore them. Don't
indeed.
call them a liar. Don't do your investigation. Become a detective, because a lot of parents are failing in that.
The last question, did you have fun? Did you feel comfortable? Um,
Yeah. I mean,
is there
because
something that you wished I would have asked or didn't ask? How did you feel about that?
I was able to talk to you without going into details, and me talking and breaking it down the way I did, I hope you understood it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, because I was trying to avoid the details.
Right.
Details make you cry, details make you hold back, and that's what I avoid.
Mhm.
Um, I've been there, done that. Like I said, the first time when I went in. So I mean, I got a portion of my live on my YouTube, but I ain't put the whole thing up. So
Right, right. Well,
but
I'm glad that you felt comfortable and I wasn't too invasive to the point where
no,
it made you
see,
uncomfortable.
where I see the people go wrong is when people get disrespectful. You see where I'm coming
Mhm.
from? It's like certain people get like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, listen, if you don't understand what I'm saying, just say that, right? But don't be rude, don't be disrespectful, or don't say this
Right.
can't happen, or how is it even? I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm hoping you understood, because I was
Mhm.
trying to really avoid just the details.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I
I
went around.
understood that. Uh-huh.
So
So I would like to thank you, Rachel, for coming through, showing me some love, allowing me and trusting me with your
that
story. This
Randy
was a
Johnson.
this was a challenging, but it was also a very good interview.
Yeah,
I
these
really
are
enjoyed. Uh,
conversations that we can have. Where we
yeah,
get
I
bad
really.
when we
Mhm.
go too deep into these topics. When I don't know
Mhm.
if you understand. Like that's why I said I like it like this. Other
Yeah,
people want to go deeper into it, and I'm sitting here like, why? Why
yeah.
would you want to go deeper into it if I'm telling you it's dark? Like Is no way.
Yeah,
that's go so deep
that's
into,
why I have
that's
my
why
limits on how far I'll go and how far I won't, because I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. It's already a very hard, challenging situation and story to tell. So I definitely don't want to add to the trauma.
Let me say something to Randy Johnson. Yeah, facts. Keeping silent. Keeping silent doesn't help the kids at all. So I do urge any kid that goes through this type of thing or is going through this, you speak up, because that's where we go wrong as kids. We think that we cannot speak to nobody, and that's not true. That's not right all the time. There's somebody out there, and if the abuse is in the house, speak to somebody outside. If it's outside, you should feel free to come and speak to your parents or anybody around you. So other than that, yeah, that's our biggest problem as kids. I don't know if it's the fear. I'm not a psychologist. I mean, I've seen one my whole life, but I'm not a psychologist, so I can't sit here and honestly say it's fear that shuts us up. It could be that with a whole bunch of other things. To me, yeah, fear is the number one thing, but I'm not a psychologist, so I can't sit here and tell you, it's fear.
Well, thank you so much, Racheal. You are definitely not a victim, but you're a survivor.
We can overcome.
You have encouraged us. You have informed us about some of the warning signs, some of the things that you've been through, and it's going to help somebody. It's going to help somebody, and you come across, for me, just watching you, you seem like you're a great mother. You're into your children, and that's what's important. You know where you've came from, and you're not doing the same cycle that you've been through. You're not doing that. So I'm going to always applaud you for your strength, your courage, for just telling your story, because you don't have to do it. So I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for entrusting me. And I really appreciate you. It said, it isn't until a victim is older that they understand that they should have told someone, and put your best losing your life trying to tell someone.
Facts. And he's not lying. That's why I said that's so true. And anybody going through this, listen, don't just go out, don't get counseling. Counseling takes you a long way, because you're not going to be able to do this alone. Right. Alone is going to take you a very long path. And in that path, the suicidal thoughts come along. And who's going to help you when them thoughts come along? So I would never suggest for you to take this ride alone. I mean, yeah, I said it right. I would never suggest for you to take this ride alone. I would suggest for you to get some type of counseling, because without it, it's going to be real hard.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you, Racheal, for coming through. I appreciate everyone that came through and showed me and Racheal some love today. Please sub up to Racheal. She has great content. She's great at spoken word. Please sub up to her. We have her link in the chat. And for those who are not subbed up to her, but please do, if you are not, show my sister some love and some support, guys. Thank you so much, Racheal. Tell your little girl thank you for being a part of the part of the show, because she was trying to show me she was in the mix, honey. She was all in the camera. So
I had you over here, so I was like, no, she be nosy.
So shout out to baby girl, okay? Shout out to everyone, your son, your significant other. And we just want to thank you and celebrate Racheal for her strength and her courage for coming on and telling her story. Thank you, guys. You guys have a blessed evening. Thank you, Devon, for coming through. Thank you for subbing up. I appreciate you guys. And please sub up to me, like, share, and subscribe. And I have memberships where I put some videos on memberships. Some days when I'm a little bit ratchet than professional, you might want to check out. But anyway, thank you guys for your support as well, just coming through and showing some love. Thank you for the cash apps or super chats. They are much appreciated. And I appreciate you so much. I love you to Reese's Pieces. I say that because I appreciate you guys for showing the love and support that you have shown me and Racheal tonight. You guys be blessed. Talk to you guys later.
Peace.
Selena.
It's a vibe, baby. Oak Cliff girl, can't make you change my world. Damn, you're so fine, girl. Oak Cliff girl, put them heels on and prove.
Welcome to Selena's couch, where you are welcome to be free to be yourself. So you can lay your head on my couch, on my pillows.
It's all good, we can do whatever we wanna do now. I'm in my bag right now, and I got a feeling, babe, yeah. You gon' be my number one lover. Spend the night making love to each other, with the lights on top of the covers. Just me and you, babe. And I feel like you're my
Love you to Reese's Pieces.
Get you a word. Nana, nana, boo, boo.